I expected a pizza delivery for the kids, but instead, four cops burst through my door, slamming me to the floor. "Michael Jensen, you're under arrest," one shouted, yanking my arms back. The handcuffs bit into my wrists, and my heart pounded as I gasped. What did I do? My mind raced. Sophie and Lucas would be home from school soon. I tried to speak, but an officer barked, "Shut it," and shoved me toward the door. My world was collapsing, and I didn't know why. I'm Michael Jensen, 38, an engineer in Seattle. I invented a medical device that brought my family a steady income. My wife, Emily, 36, worked at a law firm, and we raised our kids, Sophie, 14, and Lucas, 12, in a quiet Bellevue neighborhood. We were happy, weekly movie nights, cheering at Lucas's soccer games, helping Sophie with her science projects. But lately, Emily seemed distant, staying late at work. I thought it was stress. I never imagined she'd betray me. That evening, as the cops dragged me outside, I saw neighbors watching from their lawns. "There's been a mistake." I yelled, but no one listened. At the station, a detective slapped a warrant on the table. "We've got evidence you committed a serious crime," he said, refusing to elaborate. My stomach dropped. I demanded to call my lawyer, but the officer smirked. "You'll get your call. Sit tight." I dialed my firm's number, heart racing, and got Jonathan Reed, a senior partner. "Michael, we can't represent you." "Conflict of interest," Jonathan said coldly before hanging up. I stared at the phone, stunned. My own firm, which handled my patents, dropped me like I was toxic. The officer led me to a cell, ignoring my protests. "My kids need me," I shouted, but the door slammed shut. Alone, I sat on the cot, replaying the day. What crime? Why wouldn't anyone explain? Hours later, a female officer took me for booking. She asked my height and weight, then read the charges. Suspicion of a felony involving fabricated evidence. My knees buckled. "That's insane. I've done nothing," I said. She shrugged, unmoved, and handed me a phone for one call. I tried Emily, but her number was disconnected. Panic surged. She was my wife, my anchor. Why couldn't I reach her? Back in the cell, I paced, my mind spiraling. Sophie and Lucas would be home by now, wondering where I was. Would Emily tell them I was arrested? The thought of their fear gutted me. I'd always been their rock, the dad who tucked them in, who promised to fix anything. Now I was powerless, locked away for something I didn't do. I banged on the door, demanding answers, but no one came. By morning, I was led to a county commissioner for bail. She read the charges again, her face stern. Felony, punishable by up to 7 years. Bail set at $500,000. I gasped. "I'm innocent. Let me explain." She cut me off. "This isn't a trial. Post bail or stay detained." I had savings, a paid-off house, my business. But without a lawyer, how could I access them? I was returned to the cell, my hope fading. A guard tossed me a breakfast tray, cold eggs and juice. I couldn't eat. Instead, I thought of Sophie's smile when I helped with her homework, Lucas's laugh when we played catch. I had to fight for them. But how? My firm betrayed me. Emily was unreachable, and the system treated me like a criminal. I clenched my fists, vowing to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. Then a deputy approached. "Jensen, you've been served." He handed me papers, a restraining order. Emily had filed it, barring me from contacting her, Sophie, or Lucas, or going near our home or their schools. My chest tightened. She was cutting me out of their lives. The second envelope held divorce papers. Emily wanted a legal separation, effective immediately. I sank to the floor, the papers trembling in my hands. We'd met in college, married at 22, built a life together. Yes, we'd had arguments, but this? It was a knife in my back. I read the restraining order again, dated last night. She planned this. My kids, my home, my life gone in a day. I pressed my forehead against the cold wall, fighting tears. I wasn't a criminal. I was a father, a husband. I'd prove it somehow. In the county jail, I waited for my court date, my mind racing. The charges, suspicion of a felony involving fabricated evidence, made no sense. What evidence? Who accused me? I tried calling friends, colleagues, anyone who could help, but no one answered. My savings, over $700,000, were frozen and my business accounts were locked. I couldn't afford a lawyer or bail. Emily had vanished, leaving me to rot. A guard led me to a public defender, a young guy named Tom, who looked overwhelmed. "I got your file 10 minutes ago," he said, flipping through papers. "They claim you sent incriminating emails. Digital evidence was found on your home computer." I slammed my fist on the table. "That's impossible. I never sent any emails. Someone set me up." Tom sighed. "The evidence is solid. Best bet is to plead guilty for a lighter sentence." I refused. I wasn't pleading to a lie. At the hearing, the prosecutor painted me as a monster. "We have proof Michael Jensen committed a serious crime," she said, holding up printed emails I'd never seen. "My computer," she claimed, held files that seal my guilt. I shouted, "Those aren't mine," but the judge banged his gavel. Tom barely objected, and the jury looked at me like I was scum. After a rushed trial, I was found guilty. 7 years for suspended. I'd served 3 in prison. As guards cuffed me, I heard whispers in the courtroom. Emily was there, sitting with Nathan Reed, a partner at her law firm. Their hands touched briefly, and my stomach churned. Nathan was the son of Jonathan Reed, who'd refused to represent me. Were they involved? Had Emily planned this with him? I was led away before I could confront her, my heart pounding with betrayal. In prison, I was assigned a cell with Jack Thompson, a grizzled lifer. "You look like you're going to break," he said, eyeing me. "Don't. Survive." I nodded, but despair clawed at me. I wrote letters to Sophie and Lucas every day, pouring out my love, my innocence. I sent them to our old address, hoping Emily would let them read. No replies came. My kids were slipping away, and I couldn't stop it. Days turned to weeks. I learned Emily had used an old power of attorney to transfer our house and business to her name. My patents, my life's work, were now in a trust for Sophie and Lucas, but Emily controlled it. She'd married Nathan, and they lived in a downtown condo. Rumors reached me through inmates. Nathan was up for a big promotion funded by my business's profits. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a calculated theft. I called my old assistant, Mary, who'd been fired after my arrest. "Michael, I knew something was off," she said. "Emily and Nathan were close before you were arrested. I kept some records, financial transfers, emails. I'll send them." Her package arrived a month later. Documents showing money funneled from my business to offshore accounts. Emily's signature was on every transfer. My blood boiled. She'd framed me to steal everything. I met with Tom again, showing him Mary's evidence. "This could help," he said, "but we need more. The court won't reopen your case without hard proof." I slammed my fist against the wall. "Then give me a real lawyer." Tom shook his head. "No one will touch this. Emily's firm is too powerful." I realized I was alone, fighting a machine built to crush me. Jack overheard and pulled me aside. "You're angry. Good. Use it. Learn the system, find allies, or you're done." I took his advice. I studied law in the prison library, poring over case files. I wrote to legal aid groups, begging for help. Most ignored me, but one lawyer, Allison Cook, responded. "I'm new, but I believe you," she wrote. "Send me everything." I sent Mary's documents, my letters, anything that could prove my innocence. Allison visited a month later. "The emails were sent from your home IP when you were in Portland," she said. "And the files on your computer? Uploaded in one day while you were at work. Someone had access to your house." I leaned forward. "Emily." She was home. She knew my passwords. Allison nodded. "We need to trace the money and find who fabricated the evidence. It's a long shot, but I'm with you." For the first time, I felt a spark of hope. Allison dug into my case, but progress was slow. Emily's law firm, Clark, Reed and Partners, had influence everywhere. Judges, prosecutors, even my old bank. Every lead we chased hit a wall. I sent Allison more of Mary's documents, showing how Emily siphoned funds from my business. "This is fraud," Allison said during a visit, "but we need concrete proof tying her to the fake evidence." I gritted my teeth. "Keep looking." She did this. In prison, I kept writing to Sophie and Lucas, though I knew Emily intercepted the letters. Each word hurt, promises to be there for them, explanations of my innocence. I pictured Sophie's frown when she got a bad grade, Lucas's grin after scoring goal. They were growing up without me, and it tore me apart. Jack noticed my mood. "You're slipping," he warned. "Focus, or you'll lose yourself." I nodded, channeling my pain into the fight. Allison found a break 6 months later. "The prosecutor who pushed your case got campaign funds from Nathan's firm," she said. "And the digital evidence? It was uploaded via a VPN, but the IP traces back to your home network." My pulse raced. Emily was home that day. She had access. Allison cautioned, "We need more. Maybe a witness or the VPN's owner. I'm contacting the FBI for help." I felt a surge of hope, but it was fragile. Then Emily struck again. A guard handed me new court papers. She'd finalized the divorce. The judge, citing my conviction, awarded her full custody of Sophie and Lucas, plus garnishment of any future wages. I'd never see my kids, and she'd bleed me dry. I crumpled the papers, rage boiling. "She's burying me," I told Allison. She gripped my hand. "We're close, Michael. Stay strong." I reached out to Mary again. "Anything else you've got?" I asked over a crackling prison phone. She hesitated. "There's one thing. I overheard Emily and Nathan talking before your arrest about hiring a tech guy to handle evidence. I didn't understand then, but now my heart pounded. Find that guy, Mary. Please." She promised to try, but weeks passed with no word. Doubt crept in. Was I chasing ghosts? Allison hit another lead. The prosecutor's assistant, Claire, had quit after my trial, citing ethical concerns. Allison tracked her down. "Claire says the prosecutor pressured her to rush your case," she told me. "No one verified the evidence's source. She's willing to testify." I clenched my fists. "That's huge. Can we use it?" Allison nodded. "It's a start, but we need the tech guy to seal it." Prison life grew harder. Inmates whispered about my case, some taunting me as a rich guy playing victim. I ignored them, studying law books late into the night. Jack taught me to spot allies among the guards. One, Officer Daniels, slipped me extra phone time to call Allison. "I've seen frame-ups," Daniels said. "You don't belong here." His words kept me going when despair hit. Mary finally called. "I found a tech guy, Greg Holt. He's a freelancer Emily hired to hack your computer. He's scared but willing to talk if the FBI protects him." I nearly shouted with relief. "Tell Allison now." Mary did, and Allison met Greg. "He confessed," she said at our next meeting. "Emily paid him $50,000 to plant the emails and files. He's got records, bank transfers, texts." I leaned back, stunned. "We've got her." Allison filed an appeal, attaching Greg's statement and Claire's testimony. The FBI opened an investigation into Emily, Nathan, and the prosecutor. But Emily's firm fought back, delaying hearings with legal maneuvers. "They're scared," Allison said. "That means we're close." I nodded, but worry gnawed at me. Sophie and Lucas were still with Emily, living a lie. What was she telling them about me? A letter arrived, not from my kids, but from Mary. "Michael, I saw Sophie at a school event. She asked about you, said she found one of your letters in Emily's desk. She's confused, but wants to believe you." Tears stung my eyes. My daughter hadn't forgotten me. I wrote back to Mary, begging her to tell Sophie I was fighting for her and Lucas. For the first time in months, I slept without nightmares, dreaming of my kids' faces. The appeal crawled forward, stalled by Emily's firm. Allison worked tirelessly, meeting with FBI agents who were now tracking the money trail from my business to offshore accounts. "We've got bank records linking Emily and Nathan to Greg Holt's payment," she told me during a visit. "The FBI is building a case for fraud and evidence tampering." I gripped the table. "How long until I'm out?" Allison frowned. "Months, maybe a year. But we're close." Prison weighed heavier as hope grew. Inmates sensed my determination, and some tried to provoke me, shoving me in the yard. Jack stepped in. "Back off," he growled, and they scattered. "You're getting out, Jensen. Don't screw it up now." I nodded, focusing on my goal. I studied case law, drafted motions with Allison, and kept writing to Sophie and Lucas, even knowing Emily destroyed the letters. It was my way of staying connected. Mary sent another update. "Sophie's asking more questions. She found another letter you wrote. She's starting to doubt Emily." My heart leapt. My daughter was piecing it together. I asked Mary to slip Sophie a note. "I'm innocent. I love you and Lucas. I'm fighting to come home. Mary did, but warned me to be careful. Emily's paranoid. She's watching Sophie closely. I cursed under my breath. Emily was tightening her grip. Allison uncovered a new lead. Nathan had bribed a judge to fast-track my conviction. The judge retired right after your trial. Bought a beach house in Florida, she said. The FBI's looking into his accounts. I clenched my fists. They planned every step. Allison nodded. Greg's testimony is key. He's in protective custody now, ready to testify against Emily and Nathan. I felt a rush of adrenaline. The noose was tightening, but Emily fought dirty. A guard slipped me a message from Allison. Emily's firm had hired a private investigator to dig into Greg's past, trying to discredit him. They're desperate, Allison said. Greg's solid, but we need to move fast. I urge her to push the FBI. If they delay, Emily might wiggle out. Allison agreed, meeting with agents to expedite the investigation. I paced my cell, imagining Sophie reading my note, hoping it gave her strength. Jack pulled me aside one night. You're too tense. It's making you a target. He was right. My focus was slipping. I started meditating, using techniques from a library book to stay sharp. It helped. I stopped reacting to taunts, kept my head down, and poured energy into helping Allison. I sent her a list of old business contacts who might know about Nathan's deals. One, a former supplier, confirmed Nathan had boasted about taking over my company before my arrest. Allison's next visit brought big news. The FBI traced the offshore accounts to Nathan's name. They've got emails between him and Emily planning the frame-up. I leaned forward. Enough to arrest them? She nodded. They're preparing charges, fraud, conspiracy, tampering. Your appeals hearing is in 2 weeks. My heart raced. Freedom was close, but I worried about Sophie and Lucas. Were they safe with Emily? I wrote a letter to Sophie, addressing it to Mary to avoid Emily. If you're reading this, know I never stopped fighting for you and Lucas. The truth is coming. Hold on. Mary later confirmed Sophie got it. She cried, Michael. She believes you. I choked up, clutching the phone. My kids were still mine, even if the system kept us apart. I vowed to protect them, no matter what. The appeal hearing arrived. Allison presented Greg's testimony, Claire's statement, and the FBI's financial records. The judge listened, stone-faced, as Emily's lawyers argued the evidence was circumstantial. I sat in chains, watching Allison fight for me. Michael Jensen was framed to steal his business, she said. The truth is undeniable. The judge adjourned, promising a ruling soon. I returned to prison, hope battling fear. Days later, Allison called. The FBI's moving on Emily and Nathan. Arrest warrants are out. I exhaled, relief flooding me. And my appeal? She hesitated. The judge is reviewing. We should know soon. I hung up, staring at the cell walls. I was close to freedom, to my kids. But until the ruling, I was still a prisoner, fighting a war I hadn't started. 2 weeks after the appeal hearing, Allison rushed into the prison's visiting room. The judge overturned your conviction, she said, her eyes bright. You're free, Michael. The FBI arrested Emily and Nathan this morning. I sat, stunned, my chest tight. It's over. I whispered. She nodded. You're cleared. The restraining order's lifted. You can see Sophie and Lucas. Tears stung my eyes. After 3 years, I was getting my life back. Guards processed my release that afternoon. I stepped outside, blinking in the Seattle sunlight, clutching a bag with my letters and Mary's documents. Allison drove me to a hotel. She'd arranged a room until I could sort things out. The FBI seized your business asset from Emily, she said. You'll get them back soon. I nodded, but my mind was on my kids. Where are they? I asked. With Mary, she replied. They're waiting for you. At Mary's apartment, I knocked, my heart pounding. Sophie opened the door, her eyes wide. Dad, she gasped, then threw her arms around me. Lucas ran up, hugging me tight. We knew you didn't do it, he said, his voice breaking. I held them, tears streaming, unable to speak. Mary smiled from the doorway. They've been reading your letters, she said. Sophie found them hidden in Emily's desk. I choked up, realizing my words had reached them. We sat, catching up. Sophie, now 17, showed me a bracelet I'd given her years ago. I kept it, she said. It reminded me you'd come back. Lucas, 15, talked about soccer, his voice shy but eager. They'd lived with Emily's lies, but Sophie's doubts grew when she found my letters. I knew Mom was hiding something, she said. I squeezed her hand. You were my strength, I told them both. Allison called with updates. Emily and Nathan faced charges of fraud, conspiracy, and evidence tampering. The FBI had Greg's testimony, bank records, and emails proving they'd framed me to steal my business. The prosecutor was charged too, his career ruined. They're looking at 5 years each, Allison said. Your business is yours again, and the trust for Sophie and Lucas is secure. I exhaled, relief washing over me. I met with Mary to review the business. She kept records of every shady deal Emily made. You've got new patents ready, she said, handing me designs I'd sketched in prison. These could be big. I nodded, determined to rebuild. Sophie and Lucas helped, brainstorming ideas over pizza. We're a team now, Sophie said, grinning. I ruffled Lucas's hair, my heart full. The media caught wind of the story. Reporters called me a wrongfully convicted dad who fought for justice. I gave one interview focusing on my kids. They kept me going, I said. No one can take that away. Sophie and Lucas watched, proud. We ignored the headlines about Emily. She'd become a pariah, her lies exposed. I didn't need revenge. Her consequences were enough. I rented a house near Bellevue, close to Sophie's school. Lucas joined the soccer team, and I cheered at his games just like before. Sophie started college applications, aiming for the University of Washington. One night, she hugged me. You never gave up, she said. That's why we didn't either. I smiled, holding her tight. You're my reason, I replied. Allison pushed for reforms, using my case to expose flaws in the justice system. I joined her, speaking at a local event. No one should lose their life to lies, I said, my voice steady. The crowd applauded, but my focus was on Sophie and Lucas in the front row, clapping loudest. They were my victory, my proof that truth could win. As we left the event, Lucas grabbed my hand. We're home now, right? He asked. I looked at him and Sophie, their faces lit by streetlights. Yeah, I said, my voice thick. We're home. I'd lost years, but I'd gained something stronger, my kids' trust and a future we'd build together. The fight was worth it.